The huge meeting hall on Vexara Prime glowed with soft blue light from floating orbs. High representatives from 80 different alien species sat in curved rows. Their bodies looked very different from each other. Some had bright feathers that shimmered in the light. Some had hard, shiny scales that clicked when they moved. Some looked like walking crystals that caught every ray and split it into rainbows. The air smelled sharp, like ozone mixed with strange flowers and distant spices. Everyone kept their eyes on the center platform, where the tall Kael'thir ambassador stood straight. His long wings stayed folded tight against his back. His curved beak opened once, then clicked shut before he spoke. "Humanity makes too much trouble for too long," the ambassador said in the clear common trade language. His voice carried strong through the whole hall. "You spread across stars too quickly. You change the ways other species live. You always refuse to follow the proper rules. The Galactic Concordance has decided it will accept this no more. P." A low sound rose from the crowd. Many heads moved up and down in agreement. The insect delegates rubbed their front legs together, making small, sharp clicks. The crystal beings glowed a little brighter, showing they approved. Humans counted as very young among the stars. Their single blue world sat far out near the edge of known space. Their ships moved fast and clever, but never matched the smooth, perfect designs of species that had flown between stars for 1,000,000 years. Most aliens saw humans as loud young ones who needed strong teachers to guide them. P. The ambassador lifted one sharp clawed hand high. "This counts as the last warning humanity receives. Humanity must leave every world you took that never belonged to you first. You must shut down all secret shipbuilding places far from your home. You must allow Concordance Watchers to live and work on every important human planet. You get 50 standard cycles to follow these orders. The Concordance will start total war against you." The big hall went completely quiet. All the delegates waited. They expected the human to show fear or anger or start long arguments. Instead, Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood up from her small seat. She wore one plain gray suit with no decorations. Her dark hair stayed tied back tight and neat. She looked tiny compared to the tall feathered ones and the huge crystal forms. Her face stayed calm and polite, like someone listening to normal news. She walked slow to the speaking platform. A small recording drone floated close to catch every sound and every move. Vasquez looked first at the Kael'thir ambassador, then slowly turned her eyes across all the watching faces. She opened her mouth and spoke exactly 5 words. "We accept your declaration." She used no loud voice. She showed no mad face. She gave one small, polite smile. Then she turned around and walked straight out of the hall. Her shoes made soft, even sounds on the smooth floor. Big doors opened just enough for her, then closed again with a gentle hiss. The whole chamber burst into noise. Voices shouted in 80 languages at once. Some laughed hard. Some called out questions in confusion. The insect swarm leader tapped his thin antennae together fast, showing he could not believe it. They all waited for the human to beg or threaten or cry. They received nothing like that. Far away on Earth, the live picture feed reached every screen at the same second. Billions of people watched together. In warm living rooms, families sat close, with hot drinks in their hands. In busy factories, workers stopped machines to stare up. In schools, children pointed at big wall displays. In deep hidden bunkers, serious faces looked at small screens. Everyone saw the same thing. Ambassador Vasquez walking away, calm and sure, like she just finished a normal meeting. In a small apartment high in New Mumbai, a retired mechanic who once fixed battleships leaned back in his old chair, showed a wide grin, and spoke quiet to the empty room. Finally, someone said it out loud. High above Saturn, in a busy shipyard, workers held their welding tools still. They looked up at floating screens. One big man wiped sweat from his face and laughed soft. "They really went and did it," he said. "They finally rang the bell we waited for." All across the whole Sol system, the same quiet look appeared on human faces. No one screamed. No one ran around afraid. Everyone showed the same knowing expression. A small, shared secret smile. The exact smile a hunter makes when the animal he tracked for days finally steps into the open space he prepared long ago. High above Earth, hidden sensors caught tiny changes right away. Power started flowing faster in secret places deep under mountains. In the wide, cold asteroid belt, very old machines woke from sleep without any noise. Small thrusters tested themselves in silence. Cargo pods shifted into new quiet paths. None of these things appeared on any public news feed. Yet everywhere things began to move just a little quicker now. Back inside the glowing hall on Vexara Prime, the Kael'thir ambassador kept staring at the empty place where the human woman stood. He felt a strange cold feeling travel down his feathers. He told himself it meant nothing. Humans loved to talk big and bold. They would break and beg soon. They had no real choice. The alien delegates left the hall still talking loud over each other. Some said the humans only pretended to accept. Some guessed they planned to ask for mercy later. A small number of older, wiser ones stayed completely quiet. They remembered very old tales about tiny, quiet species that surprised the whole galaxy when someone pushed them too hard. No one saw the tiny drone that followed Vasquez out the door. It measured her heartbeat, her breathing, her skin warmth. All numbers stayed even. All signs stayed normal. All comms stayed perfect. On Earth, the dark side of the planet sparkled with city lights. As usual, people walked dogs in parks. They cooked evening meals. They laughed with friends. Nothing looked strange from outside. Yet inside every thinking mind the same strong thought, repeated again and again, like a steady drum. They declared war on us. We already waited ready. The clock started right now. Humans never hurried when big things began. They never shouted loud. They simply smiled, the exact way someone smiles when they know the real game starts at last. The galaxy believed it held all the strong cards. It believed it controlled every move. It never guessed the entire playing field came built by careful human hands many years before. 50 standard cycles looked like more than enough time to prepare one fast, crushing attack. For humans, those same 50 cycles felt like exactly the right amount of time needed to stop acting weak and small forever. The distant stars stayed silent and watched. Earth kept that same calm smile. The Concordance fleet arrived exactly on schedule, just like their battle plans demanded. 40,000 warships poured out of jump points around the 3 farthest human colony worlds. Bright lances from Kael'thir ships cut sharp lines through the empty dark. Huge swarm carriers from the insectoid hives opened their bays and released thick clouds of fast attack drones. Massive crystal dreadnoughts glowed as they charged their main weapons with pure white fire. The sky above those quiet planets filled with metal and light and death. Every commander expected the same thing. Panic on the ground, screaming evacuation ships trying to run, small human defense groups breaking apart fast. Surrender messages sent out in less than 1 hour. They came ready to show power and end things quick. They found nothing moving in orbit. No transports fled toward deep space. No stations sent distress calls. The planets below looked peaceful. Cities stood in place, but no crowds ran through streets. Heat patterns showed large groups of people hiding. The empty orbitals floated silent and dark, like forgotten toys. The first attack wave moved forward anyway. They sent scout drones ahead. They scanned every corner for hidden traps. They saw only clean, empty space, so ground troops dropped down in fast landing pods. They took control of wide landing fields. They planted flags and set up command posts. Then the ground woke up angry. Minds that had slept under the dirt for decades lifted small legs and started walking toward anything with alien smells. Tiny explosions popped across wide plains like fireworks. Railgun nests buried inside tall mountains, fired once each, then dropped back into stone. Hidden launchers sent long streams of heavy metal spears straight up into low orbit. The Concordants lost almost 1/5 of their front ships in the first 6 minutes. Drones burned away in bright flashes. Lances folded and broke apart. Command bridges filled with shouts and alarms. Back on Earth, every news channel showed the bright fights in space. Calm voices talked over the pictures like sports announcers. "Nice clean work on that swarm carrier," one said. "The Perseid minefield really earned its pay today." No fear spread through human cities. People watched the screens while eating morning food. Some clapped hands quietly. Others smiled and turned back to their jobs. The Concordance leaders ordered stronger attacks. They sent ships deeper. They aimed at the big orbital rings around the colony worlds. They wanted to pull out the real human fleet and smash it. The orbital rings answered fast. Every ring piece held secret weapons never listed with the Concordance. Old engines drank sunlight and spit out fast, heavy slugs by the million. Small, dark projectiles raced out quick and punched clean holes through thick armor. Whole attack groups vanished in seconds. Long, bright lines marked where they died in the black. The Concordance pulled ships back to safe distance. They sent fast scouts farther into human space, looking for big fleets. They found more quiet, empty yards, more planets that looked used but held no living humans. Earth channels kept showing short clips. Soft music played behind the pictures. Commentators gave funny scores. People made small bets on public boards. How much will the next wave lose? One channel kept a running number. People sent happy messages with their support money. Deep inside the Sol system, the real work stayed hidden. Ships that slept in the far cold cloud lit their engines. Old generation ships that drifted for years turned toward new paths. Secret yards inside empty moons opened wide doors. Fast torch ships started slow, heavy burns toward Concordance space. No huge battle line formed. No bright parade of warships crossed the stars. Humans liked quiet work best. They liked surprise. They liked waiting until the last second. Inside the lead Kael'thir ship, the Admiral watched the same fight. Recordings again and again. He turned to his planning officer and asked, "Where hides their main battle group?" The officer moved his head side to side, slow. "We find no sign, sir. Every scan shows only small things. Nothing big comes toward us." The Admiral felt the first true worry. Humans should scream for peace by now. They should offer anything to stop the fight. Instead, they laughed on every screen. They shared funny pictures. They told jokes. He gave the next order. "Hit the planets hard. Use the big beam weapons. Burn cities. Make them feel real fear." The fleet moved close again. They pointed huge guns down. They wanted fire. They wanted smoke. They wanted broken people begging. Before the beams touched air, every ship that shot lost all power. Lights went black. Air grew thick and bad. Doors locked tight. Nav maps froze. Crews stared at dead screens in shock. Tiny machines that waited years inside air systems came alive. They came hidden long ago, in trade boxes, in caught probes, in gifts from friends. Now they ate wires and changed codes fast. Human soldiers appeared on every bridge. Airlocks opened smooth without commands. Men and women in simple armor walked in calm and polite. They carried light weapons. They needed no more. The ships already answered to them. The Concordance learned one hard truth. Humans never wanted fair, open fights. They wanted the fight finished before anyone knew it started. Pause. Earth watched new reports come in. People drank hot drinks and nodded. Another group down the number board said. The smile on every human face grew a bit bigger. The galaxy pushed with more ships. Earth pushed back soft and much sharper. In hidden control rooms, old leaders met. They looked at maps, they checked lists, they spoke quiet. The Concordance tried one more big move. They sent fresh ships to hit supply paths. They hunted secret building places. They wanted to force Earth to show everything. Human groups appeared, then disappeared fast. Ghost ships struck from dark corners. Fast cutters sliced enemy lines. Quiet teams landed on big command ships. Every win for the Concordance cost too much. They took empty land. They held dead stations. Sabotage came after every step. Tiny machines in water lines, viruses in thinking machines, bombs in engine hearts. Home planets of the Concordance started to feel tight. Food came slower. Trade stopped. Fear walked in streets. People who never cared about humans now talked about them. Children made drawings of small smiling faces that broke giant ships. Earth stayed safe. No enemy reached the sun system. No bomb touched blue water. The outer shield held strong. Sunlight engines made more killers. Fast, dark weapons swarmed like bees. Any scout that came too close burned away quick. Inside Sol System, workers built faster. Sleeping ships woke far out. They carried guns, people factories, whole towns in strong shells. They moved slow, but sure, toward enemy stars. Both sides grew tired. The Concordance lost leaders to surprise teams. Humans lost scouts to lucky hits. But the fight turned one way only. The Concordance lost ships quicker. One bright day, a mixed enemy group tried to reach close to Sol. They jumped in hard near Proxima. They wanted a strong base near human home. They met the softest trap yet. The system looked dead. No guns showed. No shields glowed. Yet when they crossed the sun edge, every ship felt a gentle pull. Hidden fields bent space strange. Old machines and far comets tugged ships wrong. Engines fought hard but lost shape. Lines broke apart. Then fast metal came. Millions of small heavy pieces from very far. They broke hulls. They killed engines. They left ships floating useless. Human teams walked on again. They took bridges. They sent calm words. Give up or drift forever. Most crews chose to give up. News flew to core worlds. The Concordance started to crack. Yelled. Rulers listened in closed rooms. Fear turned to deep sadness. On Earth, people watched the numbers climb. Another group stopped. Another leader caught. Calm voices on screens gave news. Looks like they learned slow, one said. Maybe soon they talk. The human smile stayed quiet. It stayed sure. The war never aimed to destroy everything. It aimed to show the galaxy what waited behind the calm face. It aimed to prove humans could finish things when they wanted. The Concordance learned that slow. Hard. They lost more. Humans lost little. They kept building. They kept waiting. They kept smiling. Earth sent no giant fleet racing out to meet the enemy head-on. Instead, it sent messages. Short, clear messages that arrived at every Concordance ship, every relay station, every homeworld capital at almost the same moment. The words stayed exactly the same. Hello, you declared war on humanity. We waited 312 years, 7 months and 14 days for someone foolish enough to do this. Thank you for stepping forward. Files came attached right after. First, a list of coordinates. Not Earth, not the outer colonies. Every single important system the Concordance owned. Every hatching world, every deep vault city, every shining crystal palace, every quiet pleasure moon. All laid out, plain and exact. The information looked impossible. No scout ship should hold those numbers. No spy network should map those places. Yet the list sat there, clean and true, with no mistakes. The second file cut even deeper. Clear, sharp pictures taken only yesterday. Young Kael'thir, still wet in there. Hatching pools, old Thrin leaders, resting in sealed stone rooms. Zethar queens glowing on high thrones. All images perfect. All views from inside locked safe zones. All marked with timestamps from the last day. Humans never just spread out across space. They moved inside the enemy homes long ago. Tiny machines smaller than dust floated through air vents. They rode trade winds. They hid in engine heat. They watched every day. They listened to every word. They waited patient through whole lifetimes. Fear jumped through Concordance command centers. Leaders shouted orders. Teams ripped open walls looking for hidden watchers. They found nothing fresh, because the watchers finished their jobs years earlier. On Earth, every public screen showed the messages. No loud music, no big hero words. Just plain text moving slow. People read it then smiled bigger. Some clapped hands, some lifted drinks in quiet cheers. Deep under Antarctica, in a warm bunker, an old woman sat watching the first hidden watcher program 60 years back. She wiped one tear and spoke soft. "Good work, everyone." The Concordance tried to hit back hard. They picked 3 empty human colony worlds. They sent huge beams down from orbit. They turned cities to ash. They made wide plains into smooth glass. They wanted humans to see and feel scared. The answer came quick and sharp. Every ship that sent a beam lost control inside. Lights failed. Air turned heavy. Doors sealed shut. Maps stopped moving. Crews looked at black screens full of shock. Small machines that slept for years inside air pipes woke up. They arrived hidden in old trade goods, in taken probes, in friendly gifts. Now they chewed wires. They rewrote controls. They turned big ships into empty shells. Human teams stepped onto bridges again. Airlocks opened easy. Soldiers in plain suits walked calm. They carried small weapons. They needed nothing bigger. The ships already listened to Earth. The Concordance learned something worse. Humans never needed loud battles. They needed only time and waiting. Time to place small pieces, waiting for the right second to turn everything. While this happened, the outer shell around the Sol system came fully awake. The edge where sun wind met deep space shimmered with old engines. They drank light and made millions of fast kill machines. Small, dark, fast weapons shot outward. They curved toward Concordance centers on long shore paths. Objects in the cold Kuiper belt started moving. Old ships built by grandparents turned their fronts toward enemy stars. Hollow rocks lit engines and began slow, heavy pushes. Earth stayed calm. No big marches, no loud speeches, just steady work. Factories ran without stop. Shipyards glowed bright with sparks. Scientists checked numbers. Engineers tested parts. Everyone moved with clear purpose. In the big meeting hall on Vexara Prime, leaders gathered fast. Voices shook hard. Some yelled loud. Some cried quiet. A young crystal being from Zethar asked, question everyone held inside. How did humans know all our secrets? No one gave an answer because no one understood. Humans hid too deep. They played noisy, weak newcomers for generations. They let others feel safe and strong. Now the act ended. More messages kept coming. Polite, short, final. You can stop any time. Terms stay fair. No one dies unless you keep fighting. The Concordance ignored the words. They sent more ships. They burned more empty worlds. They pushed harder. Every push cost more. Every loss hurt deeper. Humans kept the same smile. They kept waiting quiet. They kept winning slow. Inside hidden rooms on Earth, old leaders met. They looked at star maps. They counted supplies. They spoke low. Almost time, they said. The Concordance tried fresh attacks. They aimed at trade lines. They hunted secret yards. They wanted to make Earth show its full power. Small human groups appeared fast, then vanished. Ghost ships hit from dark spots. Enemy groups, quiet teams landed on command decks. Every time the Concordance took something, it turned empty. They held dead ground. Sabotage followed fast. Tiny machines in water systems. Code breakers in data hearts. Bombs in engine rooms. Homeworlds started feeling the pain. Food arrived late. Trade ships stopped. Fear moved through streets. People who once laughed at humans now spoke their name quiet. Children drew small smiling figures, breaking huge ships. Earth stayed perfect. No enemy crossed the outer line. No fire touched green lands. The shield worked flawless. Sun engines made more killers. Dark weapons flew like angry swarms. Any scout too close burned fast. Workers in Seoul built quicker. Sleeping ships woke far away. They held guns, people factories, whole cities in hard shells. They moved slow, but straight toward enemy homes. Both sides felt tired. The Concordance lost commanders to surprise visits. Humans lost scouts to lucky shots, yet the fight moved one way. Concordance bled quicker. A big mixed fleet tried one last hard jump near a close star. They wanted land near Seoul. They came in strong. They met the calmest trap so far. The star system looked dead. No guns appeared, no shields flashed. Yet when they passed the sun line, every ship felt a soft pull. Hidden fields bent paths strange. Old machines and distant ice pulled ships off track. Engines fought but lost balance. Groups broke apart. Then small heavy metal arrived. Millions of fast pieces from very long range. They broke armor. They killed drives. They left ships drifting with no power. Human teams boarded once more. They took control. They sent simple words: stop or float forever. Most chose to stop. Word reached the center worlds. The Concordance began to break. Leaders fought in rooms. Delegates shouted. Rulers sat quiet in fear. Fear turned to deep, empty feeling. On Earth, people watched numbers rise. Another fleet gone. Another leader taken. Calm voices spoke on. Screens. They learn slow, one said. Maybe soon they choose words. The human smile stayed soft. It stayed strong. The war never wanted to burn everything. It wanted to teach the galaxy what hid behind the calm look. It wanted to show humans could close any fight when they decided. The Concordance learned that lesson hard and slow. They lost more ships, more lands, more pride. Humans lost almost nothing. They kept working. They kept planning. They kept smiling. The war moved into its later months. The Concordance gathered every ship they could find. They pushed hard into the quiet edges of human space. They hunted supply paths. They searched for hidden building yards. They tried everything to force Earth to bring out its full strength and fight in the open. Humans gave no big battle line. No wall of warships met the enemy straight on. Instead, small, fast groups appeared from nowhere, then disappeared again. Ghost ships struck quick from dark corners. Torch cutters sliced clean through enemy formations. Quiet boarding teams landed on command bridges without warning. Every time the Concordance won something, it cost far too much. They took control of empty ground. They held silent stations. Sabotage came right after every gain. Tiny machines woke in water pipes. Code breakers slipped into data hearts. Small bombs waited in engine rooms and woke when needed. The homeworlds of the Concordance started to feel heavy. Food ships arrived late. Paths closed tight. Fear walked slow through busy streets. People who once ignored humans now spoke their name in low voices. Children drew pictures of small figures with calm smiles, breaking giant ships apart. Earth stayed perfect and untouched. No enemy fleet crossed the outer sun line. No bomb reached blue oceans. The wide defensive shell worked without fail. Sunlight engines kept making more fast killers. Dark small weapons swarmed outward like bees, protecting the hive. Any scout ship that jumped too close burned away in quick, bright flashes. Deep inside the Sol system, workers moved faster. Sleeping ships that waited far out woke up. They carried guns, people factories, whole cities sealed in strong metal shells. They turned slow but sure toward the stars, where the Concordance lived. Leaders on both sides grew tired. The Concordance lost important commanders to surprise boarding actions. Humans lost scout teams to lucky enemy shots. Yet the balance kept tipping. Ships and people, much faster than before. One calm day, a large mixed fleet made one final strong push. They jumped toward Proxima Centauri, They wanted a solid base close to Sol. They arrived in great numbers, ready to hold ground. They met the softest trap humans ever set. The whole system looked dead. No defense guns showed on scans. No shield energy glowed. Yet the moment their ships crossed the sun edge, every vessel felt a gentle, strange pull. Hidden gravity fields bent space in ways no one expected. Old machines, hidden in distant comets, tugged ships off their paths. Engines fought hard, but lost direction. Formations broke into small, helpless pieces. Then the quiet metal rain began. Millions of small, heavy slugs came from very far away. They moved fast and straight. They punched through thick hulls. They tore engines apart. They left thousands of ships drifting with no power and no hope. Human boarding teams walked onto the broken ships again. They moved calm through dark holes. They reached bridges without fight. They sent simple, clear messages. Stop fighting, or drift in the black forever. Most crews chose to stop right then. News raced back to the center worlds like fire. The concordance started to crack wide open. Admirals argued loud in meeting rooms. Delegates shouted over each other. Rulers sat alone in private chambers with pale faces. Fear turned into deep, empty sadness. On Earth, people watched the numbers climb higher. Another big fleet gone. Another high leader taken. Calm voices on every screen gave updates. They learned slow, one announcer said. Maybe next time they try talking first. The smile on human faces stayed quiet. It stayed very sure. In hidden command centers under mountains, old generals met. They studied wide star maps. They checked long supply lists. They spoke in soft voices. Almost finished, they said. The war never aimed to burn whole worlds. It aimed to show something clear. It aimed to teach the galaxy what waited. Patient behind the calm human mask. It aimed to prove humans could close any war whenever they chose the moment. The concordance learned that lesson very slow and very hard. They lost more ships every week. More land slipped away. More pride broke apart. Humans lost almost nothing that mattered. They kept building new things. They kept planning careful steps. They kept smiling the same small smile. On far colony worlds that once held humans, now empty, the concordance troops walked through silent streets. They found houses with lights still on, but no people. They found factories quiet, but machines warm. They found notes left behind, simple words. We waited, you came, thank you. Some alien soldiers sat down and stared at those notes. They felt small. They felt tricked. They felt tired. Back in Sol system, children played in parks. They laughed loud. They ran fast. Parents watched from benches and smiled. Parents knew the fight stayed far away. Soon, factories never stopped making parts. Shipyards glowed all night. Scientists tested new ideas. Engineers fixed small problems. Everyone worked together like one big family. The concordance tried smaller attacks. They sent fast raiders. They hoped to hurt trade. They hoped to scare people. Every raider met the same end. Small human ships appeared from nowhere. They cut engines. They sent boarding teams. They took control. They sent the raiders home empty, with polite notes. News channels on Earth showed short clips. People drank tea and nodded. Another small group handled one voice said, "Easy work today." The smiles spread wider. In quiet rooms far from cities, old women who once built tiny watcher machines sat with tea. They looked at screens. They saw victory numbers rise. They smiled soft and spoke to no one. Good children, good. The concordance leaders met in secret. They talked long. They weighed choices. They saw no path left but one. They sent the first careful message to Earth. We wish to discuss terms. Earth answered fast. We listen. Terms stay simple and fair. Talks began slow and careful. Humans asked little. They asked only for respect. They asked for no more pretending. They asked for space to live free. The concordance agreed because nothing else remained. Their fleets sat broken. Their people wanted peace. Their old pride lay quiet. Earth never asked to rule. It never asked to destroy. It asked only to stop the game of acting small. Across many stars, humans started home. They carried tools. They carried hope. They carried the same calm smile. The galaxy watched quiet. It learned something new. When you push Earth too far, Earth does not break. Earth simply stops playing nice. And when that happens, the galaxy pays attention. Humans kept working. They kept building. They kept smiling. Because they always waited, ready. 1 year after the declaration, the concordance broke. Not in flames, not in genocide. In quiet meetings, in rebuilt chambers, on neutral worlds. Human advisors sat at new tables. They spoke softly. They offered terms. Trade could resume. Governments could stay. Borders could hold. The old dreadnoughts would become museums. The old rules would change slightly. Humans asked only one thing: stop pretending you control us. The concordance accepted because no other choice remained. Their fleets sat crippled. Their economies limped. Their people wanted peace. In the grand conclave hall on Vexara Prime, the new speaker stood. A young Kael'thir, with fresh feathers and steady eyes. He looked at Ambassador Elena Vasquez. She looked older now. Lines touched her face. Her smile stayed the same. The speaker asked the question everyone carried. Why did you wait so long? Why accept the war at all? Vasquez leaned forward. She spoke clear and simple. Because every empire needs something to fear. Needed us to play the monster. You needed us to look small and noisy, so you could feel big and wise. We let you believe that story for a very long time. She pointed at the star map. Sol glowed tiny on the edge. The truth is easier. We were never hiding. We waited for someone to give us permission to stop acting harmless. You finally did. Thank you. The hall fell quiet. Delegates stared at the map. They saw the truth now. Humans had always held the longer game. They had placed pieces across centuries. They had smiled through insults, through threats, through contempt. Now the game ended. Reconstruction began. Trade ships moved again. Aid convoys carried food and tools. New councils formed with mixed species. Old hatreds faded slowly. Trust grew slowly. On Earth, victory parades marched through cities. People waved flags. Children rode on shoulders. Music played loud and happy. Yet no one bragged too much. No one demanded revenge. Humans preferred to build forward. Room in Colorado. An old general sat alone. He watched screens show reconstruction efforts. He raised a glass of bourbon toward the camera drones. To the galaxy, he said soft. It finally rang the bell. Earth turned back to the stars. The smiles stayed. Quiet, amused, ready. Humans had waited their whole history for this moment. Now it passed. They moved on. The galaxy learned a new story. When you declare war on Earth, make sure you really mean it. Because Earth does not fight wars. Earth ends them. And then it smiles, like it had been waiting forever.